Okay, hey, what's up, Raiders? This is your boy Etro in the North American server. Believe it or not, this is actually the second time of me doing this because the first video that I did ended up with me talking for half an hour, and then there was a video slash audio distortion when I was trying to edit the video, and then it didn't match and coordinate well. Next thing you know, I'm getting annoyed, so I'm doing this all over again just for you guys. So bear with me with all the rambling that I'm about to do, but this is a request from someone who wanted to inquire about the perks that I use for World Boss 1, the composition that I use, why I use the heroes that I use, their sets, their unique weapons, and so forth. So we're just gonna dive in. The last video I did was like 30 minutes long, so hopefully I can just shorten it to 10 minutes. So let's go. I'm gonna start off with the main team that I use, and then we'll go over to the support team. So first and foremost, let's go with Shea. Now, I have her at 5 stars. I am not a whale. I consider myself a dolphin, so there's a big difference. I don't have that much 5-star uniques, but I have enough to, fully get by. So with Shea, let's look at her Transcendence perks. This is what it looks like. Don't ask me why. I mean, like, let's do our own homework. Like, if we know how her trans stacks works, then this is all you need to know with her perks. Now, the thing that I do want to mention is that you could either go 2 routes. You can go the Blue Wind Song trans 3 stack rotation, or you could go with the Dance of Red Passion, which in my preference works for me more effectively because it dishes out more DPS. So I would advocate for the Dance of Red Passion trans perk rotation. What am I talking about? So basically, when you use a skill on the 3rd trans stack, then you are getting bonus benefits from it. So if you look at her skill 2, it says that you gain CC immunity for 8 seconds, and you get like double the mana recovery. So you could either go with that rotation, or you could dish out more damage by having an amplified attack bonus. You get 2 times the attack bonus if you go with the Dance of Red Passion. So usually when you'd start off the run, you'd start off with with the skill 3. I'm talking about skill 3 right now. So you'd start off with skill 3, then you'd follow up with either skill 1 or 2. Okay, you use those 2 skills after, and then on the third stack, you'd fall under the Dance of Red Passion again. Now, this is the same thing if you want to go with the Blue Wind Song. You either use it first and then follow up with the remaining 2 skills, and then on the third stack, you hold it down so that everyone regenerates mana a lot more faster, and you're getting CC immunity. So my personal preference is skill 3. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, let's look at her set. She has a CC resist on all of her gear, so she's like a DPS slash CC resist. Now, if you know, the boss does a lot of CC with the Hulk smash, with the laser beam, with the coconuts falling. So I wanted to get rid of that by having CC resist. So I do have 71.5 on her CC resist. Now, the good thing about CC resist is that it does not have a soft cap. So if you look at May's 2nd skill on her Transcendence perk, it grants everyone 25%. So 71% plus 25%, you're looking at like 96% CC resist, so that she's not getting interrupted on her skills. If she does get interrupted and her trans stacks are blemished, then your entire run is kaput. You know what I mean? So I'm a perfectionist. I like to do my runs clean. All the runs that you see me posting on YouTube, it's not a one and done deal. Like, I'm actually resetting my runs multiple times until I get a good run, a good solid run. Now, moving on to the next character, let's go with Kara. She has a 5-star full Manticore set. all of her sets has a crit damage bonus on her enchant option, so I do recommend doing your hard raids weekly so that you do get that bonus. Now I do like the blue hard raid, the ice dragon, because it specifically gives you the crit damage option, right? Okay, so full manticore on her. I do like her UT3 better, for obvious reasons. My UT2 is much lower. Her perks, this is what her perks look like. I know a lot of people like to run target weakness over this perk, but if you're running Shea and Celica, you want to run this perk. Why? Because if you look at the cooldown skills on this skill, it's 22, sorry, let me flip this over. It's 22 seconds. Now, if you're only able to get stacks within the 20-second allotted time frame, you can cheat that by Shea's cooldown reduction on her skills, as well as Celica's cooldown reduction on her skill too. Because if you look at it, 30% on top of 10%, you're looking at a 40% cooldown reduction. So this kind of cheats focus fire so that you're able to achieve those stacks. Whereas if you don't have any cooldown reduction, there's absolutely no way you can stack focus fire. So, and if you're running 60 stacks, I mean, it's definitely more damage than running target weakness, so that's why I chose that. Now, you want to run these two perks for more single target damage bonus. Okay, now that Kara's out of the way, let's go with Celica. There's still a lot more heroes to go for. Here, I do have her as a DPS build. Okay, so all of her gear, attack speed, attack rate, crit damage, blah, blah, blah. I chose with the HP ring more than the earring because I found Celica dying at the end a lot more than she should be. So I gave her the ring of health just for more health bonus. This is her raw stats. I chose with the pumpkin because she's able to negate more damage with that, but at the same time dish out more damage too. So it's an excellent artifact to be using on her. Here's her unique treasure. Okay, now the fourth person on my main team is my sub DPS, which is either Theo or Lucia. Now you could run Audi, you could run another amplifier, but if you'd like, I mean, these are two excellent sub DPS heroes. I have him at a hybrid manticore set in one piece, and the other piece I have a red set. This is his raw stats. Okay, transcendent perk for Jane. Okay, because that I have his UT2 and it activates for Jane more. So if you go with UT2, he is able to dish out more damage. But if you go with his other unique, it's excellent on CC because the cooldown reduction is 30%. Now it stacks with Shea, so you get the picture? Yes. Now, moving on to our, wait, let's go with Lucia first. So if you have Lucia, you want to go with these perks. Okay, Circuit Burst, Blood Orb, 50% on the amp if you choose this perk. Blood Dominator, right? More cooldown reduction, or you could go with light, but my personal preference is to go with dark. Now, moving on to the support team, Annette, she has 100% amplify when she's on overclock, right? So these are her perks. I do advocate for this artifact that you get from Vel'Kazar. So continue doing your guild challenge until you get this Infernal Whip, because correct me if I'm wrong, but this artifact gives you like a 20% amp, which is amazing. Okay, these are her raw stats. I don't have her high unique, so OC. Her OC isn't 100% uptime, but I kind of cheat that to be able to get that CC resist with May and with Shea if I do the trans 3 skill 2 rotation. Okay, and then you want to go with May and Veronica. These two heroes are long-term investments because they're NPC heroes. So if you're free to play, just grind it out because they're really worth getting. So let's start with May first. These are her perks. I do have her at crit and heal, just for a sub healer, and then slash support, DPS support. No, you don't want to go with that perk. You want to go with this perk. 7 times on her stacks on her S1, and you want that CC resist for the entire team. These are her stats. I have her unique. I don't have her unique treasure. Moving on to Veronica. Now, I know a lot of people that like to use her as DPS, but I use her as a support, so I would go with Moral Rise, and then cooldown on her skill 2. Her skill 3 does amplify more magic damage, so I would choose that. And Dark on her T5. These are her raw stats, so I'm using her as a hybrid, half Manticore, half BD. This artifact reduces her skill 2, which is her bread and butter, and if you get her UT2, it increases a 1.6 second on her skill 2. So it's kind of like a positive negative effect where it increases the uptime on her skill 2 by 1.6 seconds, slash it's reducing the cooldown by 1.6 seconds because it's, you know what I'm trying to get to. Okay, so the next person is Visca. I think we covered everyone, right? Last but not least, we have Visca, which is like an absolute must on World Boss 1, just because of her Amplify and her CC. Okay, I have her as a hybrid, Manticore, half red set. These are her raw stats. I chose to go with her UT2 because of the magic defense reduction. And if you look at her skill 2, so that's an increased 40% magic defense reduction. And if you add that to Aselika's magic defense reduction and Kara's, so it just kind of stacks up and makes sense. She does do more damage on her UT3, so if you'd like, you can't go wrong with that one. These are her perks. Okay, so that she just uses her skill 3 without the cooldown. You could just spam it as long as you have the mana for it. And then more attack on her passive, and an increase of crit damage of 150% with 5 stacks, because 30% times 5 is 150, I believe. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, 150%. Now that is the entire team that I use that I would recommend. The sub DPS, like I said, you could use Theo, you could use Lucia, you could use Audie, you could use an amplifier, but one of these two I would definitely recommend. Now, that is the entire team that I use. The composition, the skills, you saw the unique weapons, you saw the unique treasures, you saw the transcendence perks. Now, the last thing that I do have to say is that if you're trying to go for the perfect run, it's very inconsistent because the way the mechanics of the boss works is that it's very sporadic, the way he uses his skills. Sometimes you'd get the coconut randomly. Sometimes after he'd get up from being CC'd, he'd immediately do the laser beam. So, I mean, not all my runs are perfect. I have to like do multiple runs to get to crunch the right kind of numbers, because the way your skill rotation works, when you're just, if you watch my video, I'm just trying to get everyone's skill rotation going and going. So the more skills that I use, the more DPS I should get. But there are certain times where the main DPS or the sub DPS's main skill, right, are being used when the boss's CC gauge is fully down. So that gives me high numbers, but there are times where I would run and they're using their skills on the time that the boss is up, when his CC gauge is fully up. So the perfect run for me, or that I would recommend for you, is this: to keep doing multiple runs until you find the right rhythm, if you find the right skill rotations going, and when your DPS is doing the skills, the hard hitting skills, right when the CC gauge is down, that gets you like I would say the perfect run. So like I said, just kind of invest on the NPC heroes. I know if you're free to play, it's kind of a timely thing to have to do, to grind out, to wait for events, but I'd say it's definitely worth it. So if you have any more questions, comment down on the comment box below, and I hope to catch you guys on the next video where I'll be doing maybe a World Boss 2 video with Chase, because I'm getting his unique up there. So it's the same kind of mechanic when you're using Veronica and May in World Boss 2, the same kind of rotations, but I'm using different sub DPS and sub healers like Juno. So I'll introduce those characters to you on the next vid. So thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking, thank you for the support, and I'll catch you on the next one.